But moving on to the front court spots for the Eastern Conference All-Star starters, we have our first front court player, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is officially back. There was some doubts of whether he could regain his former form. I don't even think he's fully there all the way. But the fact that he's averaging right now 29 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, shooting 42.4% from the field, 43.4% from three. That's just classic KD. Like KD is arguably the greatest offensive talent of all time. And him, Kyrie, and James Harden on the Brooklyn Nets. It hasn't been perfect, obviously, but the potential for them is sky high in terms of the fact that they can easily win a championship just based on their offensive talent alone. And KD contributes a large part of that as Brooklyn's first or second option.
Yeah, I think for us, the starting front court for the East was probably the easiest for us because we just knew these three guys are a lock, and one of them is Kevin Durant. I mean, he would have been a lock in the Western Conference, and he's a lock in the Eastern Conference. And he, after coming off of that injury that kept him out for well over a year, he's back and he's performing like Kevin Durant. He's a fantastic player, can score from anywhere, can score in any type of way. He's still, a very. I think he's still. I mean, can you argue he's an underrated defender? Because not many people
I
think.
mean, I mean, in Golden State, he was, I think, at his peak defensively in terms
Yeah.
of the fact that he was garnering Defensive Player of the Year votes. Um, Obviously, I don't think he's at that level right now, and probably for good reason in terms of the fact that he did come off a Achilles injury. So I don't know if he'll ever get to that, part of his, that peak again. But he did learn a lot of defensive principles and defensive habits from Golden State. So at the very least, he's more in tune and has more attention to detail than on defense than he did, for example, in his OKC days. So
Well, okay, so he's still a good player on both ends of the floor, but offensively, man, he can do it all. And I think a lot of a lot of the reasons why people are putting Brooklyn in the championship picture is Kevin Durant because of how great he is, and it's a no brainer. He's arguably the second, maybe third best player in the world right now, behind LeBron, and he's been that for the last like decade plus right now. So no shocker, Kevin Durant is a starter in the All Star game, man. It's no surprise at all.
yeah. And although again we do hate on KD a lot, but you gotta love the fact that he's looking back to his former self. Obviously, we don't want no injuries on any players. And the fact that he's looked like he's regained his form off of Achilles injury, especially. It's a great thing for basketball for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Next up to our next front court player in the Eastern Conference, it is Giannis Antetokounmpo, averaging 28 points, 11.5 rebounds, 5.7 assists per game, shooting 56.3% from the field. Unfortunately, the three-point shot is 28%, free throw percentage 63.8. Um, for the Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently the third seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, again, I think the hype around Giannis kind of died down after his two MVP seasons, for the past 2 years. But and again, people want to, I think, at this stage of his career, critique him a lot more because of the fact that now he is older. He's on that superstar level now, so people are going to critique him at the superstar level, and rightfully so. We're talking about his shooting. His shooting is terrible. His free throw percentage has gone down every year. It's still not good at all. He's still, a liability in that aspect in crunch time. So he does have a lot of problems. But, Giannis is he automatically makes your team a top team in the NBA. He's automatically an MVP candidate every year. And, he is one of the greatest talents the league has ever seen, right? In terms of being 7 feet plus, and being able to move and run around the court the way he does. We've very rarely seen players like him. And so despite all the criticism that he's faced this season, he's still a lock for the starting lineup for the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Giannis tonight, and the biggest takeaway I had, he's probably one of the hardest players to defend in today's game, man. Not only is he big, but he's fast, he's strong, and when he comes downhill, he's basically unstoppable to stop, to guard, and he just a lot of that just comes with his self development. The fact that when he came into the league, he was nothing. He was, a skinny kid from Greece, and he built himself up into what he is. So that's always been great about Giannis. And again,
The work ethic.
yeah, the work ethic has been huge with Giannis. And again, like you said, his hype has definitely died down, and the criticism has definitely increased. But you can't deny the fact that he's still among the best players in this league. And his team is continuously keeps winning, which is the big thing. He's a superstar player that puts up his superstar numbers, but his team is also performing at a high level, which is what you want. Which as an organization. And one more thing about Giannis, you didn't mention about his shooting. Well, he hit like 2 or 3 threes tonight against the Raptors, and these were pull-up threes, contested looks, man. So, although the shots don't go down consistently, he's not afraid to take them, and the shots that he is taking shows growth, at least from what I've seen of Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, he's never afraid to take those shots. It's just, honestly, it's come to the point of whether you should take those shots or not anymore.
The free throw shot, the free throw shooting, I don't know what happened there.
I mean, again, as I said, I think I've said it before too, like the bigger players can never shoot free throws properly because their body just doesn't translate. But, in terms of Milwaukee, obviously people will point to the fact that they have been worse this year. But, they've integrated a lot of new players. There's a lot of roster turnover. And also the fact that Mike Budenholzer is trying to implement a whole new, a bunch of new systems and principles into the team, in the hopes that they can finally get over the hump in the playoffs. So obviously that's kind of taint the Bucks' record a bit from last year. But they still are top 3 seed in the East, and they're still a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs for sure.
No. Yeah.
Moving on to our final front court player in the Eastern Conference starting lineup, we have Joel Embiid averaging 29.6 points a game, 10.8 rebounds, shooting 54.3% from the field and 40% from 3, for the Eastern Conference leading Philadelphia 76ers, standing at an 18-10 record. Now, again, as I talked about last episode with Nikola Jokic, the other front runner for the MVP is Joel Embiid himself. Joel Embiid seems to have taken that next step forward in his development in terms of the fact that now he looks like a legitimate superstar. We always had criticism of him before, and I think a lot of people did before as well, of whether, there's always times where he would fade in and out of games, even though he's arguably one of the greatest talents in the league. But this year, he seems to have found another gear. As I said, he's hitting 40% of his threes, which is absolutely crazy. His mid-range was always money. Now with this 3-point shooting, that mid-range opens up a lot more. He's one of the best face-up players in the post today. And, with his mid-range jumper, his ability to back down in the post, his footwork, Joel Embiid is a top 2 center in the league with Nikola Jokic. As I said, they are both front runners for MVP right now. And he's been amazing to watch, honestly. Like, I've watched a couple of 76ers games, and there's a reason why they're the first seed right now. And a large part of it has to do with Joel Embiid and his all-around brilliance. As I said, and, obviously the defense is still there.
Look, we've all known one thing about Joel Embiid. He has the potential to be the best center in this league, the best big in this league. And the only thing about Joel was always about him staying healthy and staying in shape for a full season. And I think this season you've seen he hasn't had a big injury or anything of that. Nothing major, at least reported up to this date, and that has helped him. And he's come in. He looks great. He looks in good shape. again, he's hitting the 3-point shot. He's posting up. He's still bringing the energy on the defensive end, and his team is winning, which is especially a great thing for the Sixers, an organization that has all the talent to be a championship team, but they just need to produce to get over the hump. And I think Joel playing at this high level is definitely a great step for them. And yeah, he's arguably the front runner. Like, again, I did not see this coming for Joel Embiid. I didn't see this level of production out of him, and I think he's definitely in the MVP conversation, if not the front runner in some people's mind, and rightfully so. I mean, his team's doing well. He's doing great. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to keep it up. But as far as all-star conversations are concerned, he's the best center in the Eastern Conference, and hands down deserves a starting position.